So we're back, and it is still Forbidden Door week, and we are continuing with our final match ramble of the week, celebrating Forbidden Door and anticipating to the pay-per-view this weekend. We have one that, I think everyone could have saw from a mile off. We have our AEW, it is our in anticipation for the match this weekend. We have the original match from Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay at AEW Forbidden Door 2024 for the AEW Men's World Championship. This match is, weirdly, one of the only AEW matches since I started watching AEW, have not watched, frankly. I never watched Forbidden Door this year, for that year. I never did. I just never got round to it. I've obviously, I knew how the match ended and stuff, but I never watched the actual match bell to bell. I watched highlights of this one. I remember it is when I was living somewhere else. It's actually quite mad. I never watched Forbidden Door since. So obviously, makes sense to watch it for this one, and obviously for the anticipation. This was obviously during the time where Swerve was the champ, and that few months of bliss. I loved Swerve's reign, and obviously, clearly I loved the stuff after. But I really loved Swerve's reign. And obviously, Ospreay, I've talked about this before, this is during Ospreay's mythical 2024. So obviously, at this point, he was international champ. It was champ versus champ at this point. And this was before Ospreay and MJF, obviously their All-In build. I think this was the last pay-per-view before All-In, frankly. I think it was. And it was just it was a really good match. It really was, obviously, this one. But, in general, the build, obviously, Ospreay, you think it's, crazy this time. Ospreay and Swerve's history was really established in this feud. And, obviously, Swerve on this, during this whole championship reign, he had this killer mentality that Ospreay never, because obviously following one of the greatest matches of all time, him and Bryan, Ospreay and Bryan, is Ospreay was very hesitant to use the Tiger Driver, and he was still with Don Callis at this point, which is very important to note. But the actual match bell to bell, Jesus, the match is insane. The match is stellar. It's one of the greatest examples of chemistry between two wrestlers I've ever seen. The instant where they're both going for Hurricane Ranas and they're both dodging it. Oh my God, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. The speed, the athleticism is known from Ospreay. That's the thing. We know this athleticism from Ospreay, and that's not to downplay it or anything. It's just something we are very much aware of. But Swerve's very calculated. I think that's something that I miss with Swerve recently, is ever since his reign, he was very calculated. He was a very calculated wrestler, and he's kind of deteriorated off that. I wish that come back. He has the calculation in terms of his character and stuff, but in terms of ring, it's not as calculated, at least as compared to here, where Ospreay's very gung-ho and very headstrong, and everything Ospreay goes out and hits him is harder, but Swerve's smarter, and some of the spots in here are great. I think the finish to the match specifically, the last 10 to 15 minutes, is impeccable. I think that's why the match is regarded as highly as it is. And obviously the crowd are absolutely up for it. They're screaming holy shit straight away. You can clearly tell these two have a history just from the first few minutes, in the sense of just the chemistry they have, the fluidity. It's genuinely so well worked. There's not a lot of matches like it. I do like how Ospreay's very much the pace setter, and like I said, Ospreay's very much controlling what happens. But then, as soon as Swerve hits him, Swerve has an advantage. So it feels like Ospreay will bang, 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 bang. And then he'll be, not tired, but Swerve will catch him as something. And then he'll have an opening and do a few things. Again, very calculated, very strategic. And I do like that. I like that a lot. I do like it. So I'd say the points that really changed the match for me, I'd say when the match really starts changing for itself, is when Swerve does the, I don't even know if it's a big pressure, it's basic slam, to be honest, on the barricade, and then he tries to do it in the ring, and then that's when the Ospreay kick out. I feel like after that point, it starts just going insane. I really do. I feel like the tensions here, it didn't have the biggest match feel. I feel like, again, I don't know, it felt weird. I remember watching this, going into this match live, not watching it live, but obviously the anticipation, I wasn't able to watch it, and it was, I was of the opinion Ospreay was going to win. I really did. I thought Ospreay was going to win the belt at this point, because I am a damn fool. And but I always thought it was, a really interesting matchup. Obviously, the tension was there, and I really think they built into that a bit. I feel like it doesn't have that big fight feel as much as it should. It feels, and I mean this in a complimentary way, it feels very NXT Black and Gold. It reminds me of Gargano versus Cole in a way, and I think that's a very good compliment. Obviously, one of the greatest matches I've seen. Impeccable. But I do feel like the big thing for me in this match, after Swerve gets that slam on Ospreay and then he's starting to do it, I do like how, like, a lot of it is Swerve, but then it's got counter wrestling in it, but I wouldn't say it's a counter wrestling match. Like, I'd say a counter wrestling match is a Zack Sabre Jr. or a Jay White specifically. They're the two that spring to mind for counter wrestling. I don't think this is a counter wrestling example. I think this is just a match with great counter wrestling, just because of the chemistry. I do feel like the big thing for me, what I liked, is Swerve does this, like, weird DDT. I don't know if it's a DDT or just a basic, like, you know, drag down. But it's with the neck of Ospreay on the ropes. That was really inventive. I like that. I like how the stomp on the announcing table is absolutely incredible. That was such a great spot. I really enjoyed that. That basically does Ospreay in. A lot of Hurricane Ranas, like I say. The highlight of the match for me was when, so the pair of them are going in for it. So Swerve's trying to hit these. Swerve's getting cocky a bit in the match, like, you know, he's very much standing over Will, and he's, like, slapping him, kicking him, but obviously Ospreay's standing up, you know, resilience and stuff. Ospreay does have the position for the Tiger Driver later on. He goes like that and just screams at the camera, Tiger Driver! And then fucking goes to do it. And then when he goes to do it, Swerve reverses it. And then I think this is the point where I wanted to say, because I think this is one of my favourite spots in the match, is after that, Swerve goes and hits Ospreay with a hidden blade himself, which was fucking sick. I love that. That's obviously a kick out. We'll talk about the kick outs at the end. But, and then I do feel like that was a great one. And then Ospreay goes, and I think Ospreay at that point does a reverse Hurricane Rana, or does the Hurricane Rana, stands on his feet, and then does a hidden blade to Swerve himself, which looked brutal, by the way. That shit looked brutal. And then it just it's one of those matches where there's so much going on, it's kind of overstimulating, where it's like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, it's that mad, it's that crazy of a match, it's so good. And I love, there's a finish in it that I love, but I'll talk about this in a minute. I think it's after Swerve hits that, well, Ospreay hits that hidden blade on Swerve, where he's trying to get, I think it's a slam and Swerve kicks out again. It's something like that. But Ospreay's in the corner. No. Sorry. Swerve hits a hidden blade on Ospreay. Ospreay hits another one. Then they're both about to do their own thing. I think Swerve goes for a kill shot, misses. Then Ospreay goes for a hidden blade himself. But Swerve dodges out the way and Ospreay ends up hitting the ref. The ref goes down. We get shenanigans. The shenanigans we get at that point is the ref's knocked down. Then Swerve goes to hit Ospreay. Ospreay returns it. That's when he hits the hidden blade, actually, I remember. Hits the hidden blade then. And then there's no count out. But then Don Callis appears out of nowhere. Which he's obviously still part of the Don Callis family, don't forget. But at this point, Don wasn't on commentary for some reason. I didn't get that. He normally is. And he goes up to Ospreay and drags him and says, no. You need to use the screwdriver. You need to do your screwdriver. Because obviously Don Callis, and this is where Ospreay was, you know, very much conflicted. He wasn't a heel at this point, obviously. And Ospreay's like, what? No, he's really resilient to it, and like he's trying to give it. Then Nana comes in and pushes Don Callis, like to go, don't do that, and then Don Callis just pushes him away. And then Ospreay's got hold of the screwdriver, and then when Nana pushes Don Callis, he goes, don't you lay your hands on me, you son of a bitch. And then Ospreay goes out and grabs Nana by the neck. And bear in mind, Ospreay and Nana are cool. They've got, you know, they're pretty chill with each other. And he's going up, and he goes up with Nana with the neck, like, with Nana's begging, like, no, don't. And he's got the screwdriver, and Ospreay, like, he realizes, he goes, oh fuck, and puts it down, releases Nana, and goes back in the ring. As soon as he gets back in, bang, kill shot, soon from Swerve. Then I think Swerve hits a big pressure. I think that's what he hits a big pressure at this point. And then this is where I thought the finish should have been, personally. Swerve goes up and just goes up and goes, whose house? And then everyone's seen Swerve's house, hits a beautiful house call. I thought that should have been the finish. And this is what I wanted to say about the kick out. I feel like Ospreay gets a lot of criticism for his kick out specifically. Obviously, he gets a lot of criticism for some reason. I don't get it. I don't get the criticism for Ospreay. Obviously, I'm a fan. I feel like the kick outs here, that was the only one where I'm like, the match should have ended there. Personally, the match should have ended there. But I get why not, because they want to show Ospreay dying on his shield. And it really fits the narrative of the match, admittedly, where in the sense of Ospreay kicks out, and it's like, what? I don't think Ospreay should have kicked out at that point. I don't. Because I feel like when that happened, it made sense to finish it. It felt very neat, and it felt like a good, concise, and I think, honestly, it protected Ospreay more than people realise. Obviously, for him to get attacked after coming in when Swerve had that time to prepare. And then what I liked was, what I didn't like was, Ospreay gets up, he's like a zombie, he's very, like, you know, out of there, because he's just been hit with a fucking kill shot from hell. And then he goes up, And he goes to give Swerve a fucking hidden blade. Swerve catches him in his arms, taps him like that, gets him up, big pressure, bang, 1, 2, 3. That's the match. And I think I'm missing a lot because obviously, you know, there's that much. I can't really remember it all, even though I've just finished it. That's how wild the match is. It's a very, very quick match. And I don't think it's half an hour. I think it's under half an hour. I don't think I think it might be 25 minutes if I'm mistaken. But it gets a lot in there. A lot. And I feel like sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. Like, I didn't even mention, like, Danny Garcia's in the top in the rafters watching the match because obviously the stuff with him and Will previously in Dynamite. MJF's watching backstage at one point. Obviously, Don Callis. There's a lot. There's a real lot going on. And I like that from the fact of, you know, I'm invested. I know that. But it's also like, to kind of take it in, it's like, okay, this is... Not that it's a bit much, but it's like, ugh. But with the Ospreay, just to back on the Ospreay kick-out situation, I don't get the criticism. I don't agree with the criticism, but that was the first one in a while with Ospreay kick-outs where I'm like, I would have just not kicked out there. It feels like the match had reached its peak, then it went down to just end there. Like, I don't know why. Not that the match is bad or anything. God, no. Like, the peak is one of the best athletic matches I've seen. But, like, I just feel like it just needed that. I think it should have ended there. I just think that extra bit where Swerve holds him like that, it was just a bit weird. Swerve obviously celebrates. He shows Ospreay respect. They're pretty cool, obviously, with each other. And this was, this was the last pay-per-view match before Swerve at All In. Which, obviously, what a match, if you couldn't tell. But, yeah, as a match, this one it's super good. It's super good in the sense of the athleticism from Ospreay. I do like how they present Ospreay here, where Ospreay's got this wildness in him, but not this brain. And I feel like, honestly, it really parallels well to Ospreay now, because it feels like that's what Moxley's trying to teach Ospreay. If we go to modern day, preview for the Forbidden Door match here, it feels like Ospreay's like getting told, like, even with the stuff with Garcia, when Garcia was rage baiting him this past few weeks, alright, man, that's funny as fuck. Moxley goes to Ospreay, are you in control right now? And he goes, no, not really. And he goes, I need you to let everything go. Like, shit like that. It's like, I like how that really, I think it doesn't, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it really ties into this match very well. This feels like such a showcase of how good Swerve was. I miss this Swerve. I do. I miss the Swerve from this match in the sense of, not that he's changed drastically, I just think the presentation and the focus of presenting him this specific way has kind of been left in the back burner. And I feel like he's kind of just more this, I want to be the dangerous guy rather than the smart, calculated guy. I feel like it's going to sound like a wild pop culture comparison. Swerve to me is like a Bane from Batman, where Swerve needs to be a very calculated but also, you know, very powerful person. That's what Bane is. You can't have a good portrayal of someone like a character like Bane, again, very comparable to Swerve, is you can't just make him strong, because that doesn't work for me, and you can't just make him ruthless, because you have to have that calculatedness. And I feel like this is a perfect example of it. I think it's Swerve's, of his title reign, it's probably his second best match, which, you know, we all know what the number one is, but Jesus, it's a high bar. And obviously, of Ospreay's 24, it's probably his second best match too, or third. You know what I mean? Like, it's in there. It's super high, and that's a high bar. So, in general, I think the match is excellent. I do think I'm more, I don't know, because Swerve and Ospreay have had a few matches, right? And obviously since this match too. One on Dynamite, if I remember correctly. I think this was before their all-in tag match with each other. And I just feel like they should have, this one feels very, I feel like the chemistry in this one's the best I remember it. I can't remember the top of my head the other Swerve Ospreay matches. The chemistry, but the styles of these two have changed so much. This makes me more and more anticipated for the Forbidden Door one this weekend, in the sense of the brutality now of Ospreay, you know, the whole thing with Swerve in terms of how's he going to be portrayed. I think it's very interesting. Very interesting. For me, I can't wait. For me, for this match, I think it's stellar. I do think it's one of the better Forbidden Door matches we've seen. I think it's clearly going to be the main event for the Open Final in Forbidden Door this year. But either way, I think this match is a marvel of just chemistry between wrestlers, athleticism obviously with Ospreay, Swerve's presentation as a champion. I think it hits the nail on the head for a lot of aspects, and that's a very big thing for me. I think if someone hasn't watched it, I really do think, out of all the matches you should watch before Forbidden Door this year, this is the one. I think it's really, even though I haven't watched the card yet, obviously, Christ, it's like, I've just got a feeling this is going to really enhance people's experiences. It's on YouTube for free. Watch it. This is excellent. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Swerve and Ospreay's match at Forbidden Door 2024. Let me know what you thought of the match. How excited are you for Swerve versus Ospreay this year? And do you think Swerve versus Ospreay in 2024 is their best match? Or do you think this Forbidden Door one, just from hype and stuff like that, do you think it's going to be better? Let me know.